Besides this, this is obviously going to be. You want to know what really happened, you need to watch this. This is the only place you're going to get this type of interview or
I don't really know what this is, but I didn't do it. I'm innocent, Judge. I'm not guilty. I'm innocent.
We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant, Matheau L. Moore, not guilty of murder, as he stands charged in count 1 of the indictment.
Hello, everyone. Hiya, Matt. How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
How are you doing?
What's going on?
Sorry we're late. We just been chatting in the background. We were just chatting away. Before we knew it, it was like, oh shit, I better get started. So that's our fault. It's all good. Hello, Christine. How are you, my darling? I'm gonna just reset this up a little bit. Here we
Lou,
are. That looks better.
Carol,
Josie, Christine. Hello, Josie, my darling. Hello. Does
Josie
anyone have
George.
StreamYard? Yes. Lou. Hello, Lou. Lou has a channel. Yes, I do. Just viewers. Hello, morning. Hello. Hope you're well. 3 hours of trying to people on YouTube. Christine. Oops. StreamYard's easy. It's fine, Christine. We can chat. Let's do try to build a channel. See if we get everything. There we are. Hello, Carol. Carol's a stranger. I've not seen Carol for ages. Carol's back. Carol Draper. You know Carol.
Yeah, Carol's. Carol.
Yeah. Good morning, Carol. Hope everyone's well and happy today. It's lovely to see you, Carol. There's a lot of people here. Just wanna.
What's
Hello.
with the surge of
Yes,
popularity recently?
For what?
For you and your show.
Oh, the Karen Reed case. Yeah, the Karen Reed case, isn't it? And shout out to Sean on the Gulf. Because he's.
I thought it was me.
That was you. Well, no one's here for me, that's for sure. Everyone's here for you. Hey, Joanna. Nice to meet you, Joanna. Hello, welcome to you. Nice to see you here. Thank you for being here. Greetings, Dylan and Matt. Thanks, Lou. Carol. Yeah, he's well. Trust me, he's got his glasses on. He's tired.
Oh.
Dylan, you lose your weight.
It's Saturday morning. It was Friday night
Saturday
last
morning.
night.
I know. But now we can start. Here she is, Hack. The Hackster's here. Yo, pepperoni. So she is here. So yeah, I'll give a shout out actually because I don't normally give a shout out to myself, but I'll give a shout out to myself here. Hang on, let me get it. Only because next week I'm doing a charity thing where I'm doing a walk, 11,000 steps a day, all throughout March for prostate cancer. So if anyone's got spare change and fancy donating, please put that in there. But obviously the most important thing is, let me get the banner. Where's your stuff? This is what we need. Here we go. At the end there, Matt's book, obviously purchase Matt's book, go to Amazon and search for Emily, a staged suicide in Ohio. But yeah, if anyone has got any spare change and wants to donate to charity, and I'm doing that for prostate cancer. So there we are. My father had prostate cancer. Obviously, I'm now being checked, and I just want to make sure everyone else out there we are. So we should be, encouraging people to go get tested and everything like that. So yeah, right. Hang on. Let me add this on stage then, because we are. Oh, there's a break there. Hang on, we're back here. You were thirsty, Matt. You're thirsty right there. Caught a good angle, you like. Just like fuck it. Get some water down here.
My shirts are in rotation.
Yeah.
My lawyer Diane bought me some clothes, So I had some shirts to wear to trial. Don't worry, she took it out of what I gave her, I'm sure. So
Well, we're going to get into all that stuff with her right at the end. We're going to dedicate an episode for Diane. So
you want to know
if
you want to know the ins and outs of Diane Menage, because she's a very impressive woman, right? Well, at the end, we're going to discuss her part because it was huge.
So we've already got a couple of questions for Diane. So if people are asking questions about Diane, we will answer them at the end. Don't think I'm ignoring you or not answering it. It's just I don't want it to be repetitive. So it'll be pulled out and added to my word sheet. So just in case. I wondered about that. Yeah, he did. You mentioned this. You had a selection, didn't you, from Diane for shirts and stuff. So just Juris is asking, how long did it take to start looking like yourself again?
Looking what?
So,
like yourself again?
Yeah. To start looking like yourself, like long hair, beard.
Yeah. It was the depression kicked in immediately. Just the being lost. Like, what am I going to do? So to turn into looking like this pretty much happened right away.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine how that. I think there's lots of questions that we all have for how your transition happened and stuff. But we'll try and obviously keep some of them till the end because we will have obviously you went from. I'm not. Don't answer this now. I don't want to answer this, right? But some of the things that fascinate me, which I want to ask you right at the end, are things like you went from Westerville back to Vegas. How did that happen? How did So there's a lot of stuff there. I think I want to know right at the end, but we're not there yet. We're still in the trial mode. So yeah, so when chat thinks I'm not asking questions, I got loads of questions for you as well. So right, let's get going. We've got this guy on he's a photographer, wasn't he, or whatever he was. Don't remember his name now. We'll get into it now anyway. This guy on stand now. Hang on, where is he?
Oh, that guy? Oh yeah, he was
yeah.
He worked for OBI, Ohio Bureau of Investigation, and he's a crime scene. He comes and he'll investigate the crime scene. He'll take pictures, measurements, process the scene. He's a scene processor. He's got 7 years in the bureau. He's got like 2 years in his little mystery van that he drives around Ohio in, showing up at scenes. This is probably his 70th or 80th homicide. The main thing about this guy is that he takes pictures of the scene. He didn't, and obviously when he got to this one, there was a woman hanging from a ligature, and he didn't take any pictures of the ligature around her neck. I'm not saying he didn't. I hope you guys that are watching, have been watching this, know how deep the corruption goes. Of course he took pictures of the ligature around her neck. How could you not? They just didn't put it in discovery because it didn't help their case. Whatever they get to decide what goes in discovery and what doesn't. How could this guy be a crime scene analyst, show up at a crime scene or a suicide scene? That's what they got to figure out. And you don't take pictures of how the ligature or any of the how it was around her neck. I mean, it was such an important facet of trying to figure out what happened. And the guy didn't even take pictures of it. And another thing is when they took her down, him and a guy, an investigator from the coroner's office, I forget what they're called. They're semi-cops. They took her down in such a way. I mean, she was so brittle. She'd been out there for so long. You'd have to be very, very careful on how you took a cadaver down off of how she was hanging, and wait until you heard Diane kind of goes into it and goes, I mean, how did you take her down? And they didn't take any video of it. He did a very poor job. So I don't. And wait till you see Diane cross this man. I mean, it's and he shows up at all these homicide scenes and if he does this bad of a job at every one of them, which he does, he can't be good at one and not good at the next. They just railroad people, man. This guy's just part of the system that railroads people. I'm not saying that everybody's not guilty, But I mean, they're not going to help an innocent man be found not guilty. That's not why he's there. He's there to build a case on people, whether you're guilty or not. So he's a cop.
Yeah, that's fair. And I got a question for you from this actually that came in from YouTube. But before that, hi Josie, hi Jonathan. Sounds like he was busy measuring how big his wong was. Jesus Christ. Right, the question came in on YouTube for you. So one thing he says about this particular guy, one thing I'm surprised this prosecution didn't ever bring up is the seasons. Lots of very good reasoning says that Matt can't get into and out of the area with all that brush, but some of that can be negated by the seasons. The seasons that the photos were taken and the seasons that the jury toured were both in the late summer with full foliage. May could have been good. Let me finish this then. Let me finish the question, and then you can answer the whole thing then. So, May could have been considerably less brush. Don't know, of course, and I fully believe Matt is innocent. Just surprised the prosecution didn't try to attack the doubt created by impracticality those images foster, and that's from the Decarino. And I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
For seasons, you know.
I think the lighting, how dark it was in there when they said that this happened, is relatively about the same. I think it does stay longer, like longer in the summer, but it was starting to get towards September. It starts to get darker earlier. So I think that the lighting, the fact that Diane is like, hey, how dark was it when you got there at like 8? Then this is when they said I did this thing. It was, you couldn't see. I mean, it was, you go into the woods. It was dusk. It was, but when you went into the woods, it was really dark, and I would, you know what I mean? So that alone is, I mean, to think that someone could do something like this in the fucking pitch black. I mean, that's weird. And where she was found, the dateline showed where they were moving around, and it was pretty open. It wasn't too bad. You could see the cars from County Line Road from where they were. You could see cars going by. And while they were making the dateline, you could see several cars go by because it's so well traveled. Now, I've heard someone say, hey, it was COVID, so there wasn't as much traffic. That's true. But that's another part of it. It's like, so if I drove her up there and parked on the side of the County Line Road, you can't park there. There's nowhere to park. If a car was there, I mean, I would be taking a huge risk parking there and then dragging her in the woods and then running back to my car and jumping in it and driving home without anyone seeing me. It's like, it would be an impossibility for that to happen because that road is so well traveled. And either that, or you think that I killed her at the condo and carried her up there. You can see from the dateline where my house is and where they found her. How am I going to get her there without being seen? What am I going to walk down the middle of the street with a fucking body? Or maybe I put her in something and carried her, like put her in luggage or something and fucking dragged her down the road. I would have been seen. It's the fact that there wasn't any evidence of that happening. They literally, that's when Diane used this inference upon an inference upon an inference. You have to prove it. You have to show something. You can't just say it. Well, we don't know where he killed her. He could have killed her at the condo and carried her up there and put her in there in the pitch black and set all this stuff up. There's too many inferences upon inferences. You need to show some sort of proof. There was none, like zero. So it just didn't work. Their story didn't work out. Wait until final argument. Final, what do they call it? Final.
Closing arguments.
At the end, and they encapsulate their case into this little speech at the end, and it's literally like, you could say anything about anybody. Someone could have flew in from fucking Seattle, you know what I mean, and they could have worked it out till they did it. You know what I mean? If you don't have to prove anything, just be, hey, he wasn't on his cell phone for 40 minutes right here. That means he literally could have been doing anything. If you don't have to prove it,
Yeah.
any evidence of it, it's court of law. It's not supposed to be like that. I haven't seen Zachary's case, but I can imagine if you don't have a decent lawyer and you have a decent prosecutor, they'll convince you that this happened without evidence. But if you have decent representation and you have a decent jury, you're supposed to, like you advocate for, Dylan, you're innocent until you're proven guilty in this country. You have to look at someone like they're innocent, and then the prosecutor's supposed to prove to you that they're guilty. So if you look at it like that, there's just no way they could have prosecuted me with the jury that I had and the attorney that I had. But at times, I guess it happens that you don't keep evidence.
Yeah. No, it's scary how often it does happen. And we don't even know half the time. Well, not even half 95% of the time, we don't even know it happens because we don't cover it and we don't see it. So,
the police don't give a fuck whether you're innocent or guilty. They don't care. It's a business. They need to close cases. And you think, oh, that's not true. Well, watch our podcasts. Go back and listen to all our podcasts on this case, on this channel, and you will be convinced. You have to be that they don't. It's not about. They get trained to get tunnel vision. They're like you. They make a decision, and they're balls to the walls, pedal to the metal, proving their decision. And all of a sudden, whoa! They found her. She obviously committed suicide. You should probably come out and tell everybody that. They don't have the integrity. They don't have the integrity is the word to turn that around. They didn't in my case. It would have been way worse for them if they turned around and said, "Hey, we're sorry. She did commit suicide. Sorry, Mr. Moore. Sorry about all that we did to you in the media and in the public's eye. We missed her. She was literally 200 yards from your house. Cadaver dogs don't work." Like this guy said last week, remember? They asked this guy last week, have you ever used cadaver dogs in your career? And he's like, I've used cadaver dogs 3 or 4 times on 3 or 4 different cases, and I've never had luck with them. You know why he said that? Because he wants to make an excuse for them missing her. These people lie. They're liars, and they're
together. Yeah,
it's a business, man. It's a business. That was pretty funny too last week. Did you see that part where he says that, and then Dr. Hines starts giggling. He was just like, what did that guy just say? Yeah, he says cadaver dogs don't work, and neither do lie detector tests, and they know that, and they give people lie detector tests and tell everybody that they failed it. It's a scam. Yeah. Did Zach take a lie detector test?
You know what? Josie's in the chat. She'll know better than I do. I don't think he did, but Josie would know more than better than I do. The pre-trial stuff, I'm not very up to date with.
Say you failed it. For one, mine was a voice inflection test, which is not even a polygraph test, and they just tell you you failed it to try to get guilty people to confess, which is okay. That's a tactic, but you don't turn around and use it and put it in evidence. And say, hey, because they don't work. And this cadaver dogs don't work either. Literally, they don't work.
Josie just said he didn't take a polygraph test.
Well, I took one because I wasn't lying.
Well, why wouldn't you?
And but why wouldn't you? Like, I was just trying to get them to look for her, and they were like, "You want to take a polygraph test?" But just know that the cops know. They don't care about the results of the polygraph or the voice inflection test. They're just going to say you failed it, try to get you.
Anyway. Baseball Dad, good morning. I'm a little late. Don't worry. Baseball Dad's all the way from Indiana. Nice to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. He comes in every Saturday to see you. So Baseball Dad's one of those that I never see him except for when this is on. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here, Baseball Dad. I always appreciate when you. Yeah. He's a baseball coach for his kids that goes around, obviously. I managed my
son's little league team as well when I was.
There you go.
My kid was the worst kid. Joey was the worst one on the team. He didn't even want to play, but I did it anyway. You know what I mean? So Joey always sat the bench. I was the only coach whose kid was on a team that did want to play.
But still, it's great. It's great time for you, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
it was all right.
um,
Okay.
so Sue says Zach didn't even know the guy was missing until 3 weeks into his arrest. So that's how poor that investigation was going. Um,
I had a
yeah,
conversation with a woman who thinks that Zach's guilty, and I had a small conversation with her, and I was like, it was before we had our interview, and I was like, well, tell me why you think he's guilty, and she's all those things that Zach's brother said that people were using as evidence. She's using as evidence that there was no blood found. That wasn't blood.
yeah,
She said, "Oh yeah, it was. It was blood, and it was his DNA." So there's a lot of disinformation about all that.
yeah.
But I hope that
Yeah.
well, it doesn't really matter now. But I mean, does stuff like that get into his trial? I hope
Yeah.
not.
No, he did. That's how he got convicted. That's how he got convicted.
That's why it's. I mean, some sort of carpet was missing. So that's circumstantial. He was a stalker. No, he wasn't a stalker. There was a custody battle going on, and his phone had him up by the guy that got whacked. That's not fucking evidence. It's not evidence.
Yeah.
It's fucking circumstantial.
And wasn't even there.
Oh, he was a bad father. So says you. That doesn't mean he was a fucking murderer.
No.
It works. And if you get a shitty jury, man, and you get no offense to his defense team. But,
it is. I'll jump back in a second. Hello, Chris. Thank you, my lovely. Chris is from Australia. So thank you for being here, Chris. Hello, Dylan, Matthew, and Mods. So I want to touch upon something you just said there. Obviously, yeah, I mean, with the Zach stuff, it's the blood in the van and stuff, yes, the missing carpet, stuff like that. But what somebody said here, it was Lou and Erin. We've covered this before, right? But like we did actually cover this quite in depth. But it's true. I'm convinced now that your defense lawyer is everything. And Lou says Zach was like a lamb to slaughter. He would never have been convicted with the Diamond as his lawyer. I think so. With Zach's side of it, like he had a very Nicole and he she used to lead um attorney for him, and she had two experienced people with it. I like Nicole as an attorney. I think she's going to be fantastic in years to come. But this was her first murder trial.
yeah, you
I
don't
think
want
that was
you don't
no.
want that.
She's fantastic. I think she's going to go
Yeah,
far
I'm
in
sure
life.
she's great, but you don't want that.
Ignore your first one.
Just know with my lawyer, my attorney, every issue, every angle that the prosecution used to try to use against me was addressed. So if there was anything in Zach's case, the things that were just left up in the air because they didn't address it, and you had a bad attorney.
It wasn't really addressed enough, shall we say, and even the things like you mentioned, the missing carpet, a little piece of carpet was missing that everyone said was missing, but the prosecution's own own witness said that it was missing before the murder,
Right.
and they said no, that was missing well before the murders. I saw it with my own eyes. So even their own witnesses were contradicting actual evidence. So it was. I just unfortunately
the thing about some sort of sardines or fish being opened, I mean, that is such weak circumstantial evidence that they should have been all over that. That's complete fucking nonsense. Oh, and then just know the bleach. Who reported that there was a bleach smell? Police. Did anybody else that wasn't a cop say they smelled bleach? No, right?
Yeah.
These are cops. These are fucking lying scumbag cops, lying systematically, fucking railroading someone.
It's just not the cops. It's also
people
the
out there that think that he's guilty because a cop smelled bleach in his fucking truck. You're fucking stupid. What the fuck is the matter with you? How can you use that as evidence?
It's
ridiculous.
It's the prosecution as well, because they get the case and turn it into just take that one piece and spin it. So the prosecution, in my mind, are worse than the police, because they take whatever they can, just butcher it in there, just
They're
kick it in
lizard
there.
people. They don't care. They'll convict an innocent person because it helps their career. Anybody that goes into government like that and tries to I'm going to go up in government. I'm going to get promoted. They're fucking liars, man. They can't handle it out there in the fucking private sector, so they go into government, man, where you get all this power. Could you imagine the immense power? Just being like a manager at like a 7-Eleven, and you got like 8 bozos that you got to get to show up to be a cashier, and you got that little bit of power there. What kind of jerk you would turn into just being a manager? Could you imagine being a cop with a gun, walking around your fucking, what that would do to your fucking head? Are you kidding me? And the type of person that would want to do something like that in life, you know what I mean? Come on, man. This is, man, just watch our case. Dylan, we do a really good job. I mean, I go back and watch what we do. It's fucking obvious, man.
It is.
It's not that difficult to fucking, especially my case. It's so obvious that these guys, and it not just in my case, it's all cases, just that these guys in Westerville are really bad at it, and the prosecutors didn't have the experience to go up against Diane Menashe. They went and hired Dr. Schmock, who was a leading expert in the realm of strangulation. He's a strangulation expert who's testified at all sorts of trials. He testified in that trial with the cop from wherever that knelt on that guy's neck and killed him, that black dude. And he testified against that dude, and and the cop's in prison for it. You know what I mean? This guy's a professional fucking liar, man. And he got to my case and he tried to lie, and because my attorney was so good and my jury was so smart, they didn't believe him. My jury deliberated for 20 minutes. They didn't even deliberate. They just were like, okay, let's vote. It took 20 minutes to vote, and everybody said not guilty right away. Yeah. But this is all cases. There's so many innocent people in prison. Yeah.
So
it's sad, man.
I think let's put a bow into this one. I'll finish off with what Lou says here. She says Diane knew how to destroy the prosecution. I think the example with Zach was like with Nicole. As much as I love Nicole, I mean, if Nicole could work with Diane for a few years, she would see Diane specialised in being able to not manipulate, but work well with the jury, get them on side, work well with the judge, and also destroy the prosecution in different ways. So I think that's what Zach lacked, that he didn't have someone that go in there and be a destroyer.
Because this guy he was going through a custody dispute with his ex-wife, so he had a file on his computer that had information about the guy that was killed. That's fucking evidence to you that that guy did it? It's not evidence. It's not. It's fucking circumstantial fucking nonsense. They could do that to anyone. It's just that Zach was the ex-husband or boyfriend, so they have all that shit that they could use, all that information that they can manipulate and turn into whatever kind of story they want. They could do this to anyone. They could have done it to a relative of the guy. I mean, anybody that was around, they take them, decide they're it, and then go into their lives, go into their text messages, go into their history, and manipulate things into their story. They're fucking professional liars. It's corruption. It's government. I mean, how can't you look at what's going on right now in this country? Government's corrupt. They're just fucking corrupt, man. So fucking people out there, snap out of it. Snap the fuck out of it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, isn't it?
I couldn't imagine what it's like in Wales where you're at, because I mean, your country's been around for so long. The corruption must be so deep, man. I mean, I couldn't.
We don't hear about it. You know, we don't hear about it too much because obviously everything's done behind closed doors. So
press.
We don't know. You know,
we have, even with the internet, not a lot of stuff's coming to light in Wales. The Wales police force, I can imagine those fucking guys. Oh my god.
I know. But anyway, look, let's put a line underneath here. Let's put a line underneath all that. We're here for you. I know there's a lot of people chat about Zach here and stuff like that. We all love Zach. We all want him out and stuff. But let's get this now with you. We've got this guy on. Let's watch a little bit of this. We're trying to keep this to about a 2-hour stream as well.
I like the 2 hours.
Just over 2 hours. Yeah, everyone does, to be quite honest with you. So we're trying to keep it to that. So yeah, same as always. I will be skipping pictures and stuff like that. I don't, unless
you don't have to skip on my account, man, because
No, I know,
People are
but
using
still,
that as evidence against me. Hey, he can look at pictures of his wife. For one, that's not even her anymore. And if you knew Emily, you would know that she's wouldn't. If you really knew my wife, I'll start crying because she's like, she trust me when I tell you she had gallows humor and she would not be upset at all that you're looking at pictures of her fucking corpse. She's probably laughing about it.
Yeah. We'll see how bad it is and stuff like that. Anyway, as
Yeah,
we
don't worry
go,
about me.
that's fine. I'm Erin Hacks, Paddington Panton. All the Wales cops probably look like Paddington. Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? And Chris is saying, Louis, sadly, so Lou says, a jury is only as smart as a lawyer who tells us most compelling story. I think that's very true. That they should be better than that if they pay attention, apply the proper rules of reasonable doubt and evidence. Semi-agree. I think the trouble with Zach's one is that the prosecution did such a job of banging in about there was so much the blood. It was blood. They even had a witness say it was blood. Yeah. So there was. I can. A lot of people have that thought he was guilty of obviously turned now once they've seen the actual evidence and been like, oh shit, no, he's innocent. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But in the moment, in the way he was sold to them, the way, and this is what goes back to what Lou said about a jury's only as smart as a lawyer who tells the most compelling story. For us, it's easy when you're in a box with 16 of you and you're only able to write some notes. It's quite hard, especially when you in and out like they were all the time. It's tough. It can be tough. So I can imagine
It's
when
not easy being a juror. It's not.
it's not, and we don't get. Also, they don't get to see the all side arguments or the bitchiness. They don't get to see any of that stuff. So, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, let's move on. Fuck it. So let's not sadden today more than we have to. So, right, let's have a look at this guy. And thank you everyone for being here. And let's get on with it.
Back. So Miss Noble's back was to me as I was approaching the woods. She was kind of like crouched down on her knees a little bit, sitting on her knees in a hanging position.
And did you notice if there was a ligature?
Yes, there was something around her neck.
And again, you documented the body as you approached it.
Yes, ma'am. Once again, I take my photographs. I eventually went 360 all the way around, just showing the body from different perspectives.
I'm forgetting my alphabet this late in the day. All right, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 108, G, H, and I. Again, do you see your initials at the bottom of each of those?
I do.
And you looked at them before?
I have.
You have very accurate depictions of what you observed on September 16th.
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to publish to the jury? No objection. I'm placing State's Exhibit 108G on the overhead.
So this would be the back of Miss Noble as I'm standing a couple of feet away.
And Your Honor, just because the lighting is different, I'm just going to slow walk it past the jury, please.
You don't have to stop, Dylan. You can keep playing. It's what they're going to do now is show graphic pictures.
You can't see that.
They don't use those pictures as evidence against me. What they're doing is it's like they're shocking people because it's so shocking to see someone in this condition. Nothing is used, but they keep showing pictures of it. It's all right. Go ahead.
Fine.
You don't have to
Well,
stop.
no, it's fine. It's fine. And look, I don't really want to see it, so I won't stop
No,
it. I won't
it's fine.
skip
I mean,
it.
they're not going to show anything anyway. Everything's going to be pixel.
Fine, but it's fine. It's fine. But just a warning, in case it isn't in pixelated for people that don't want to see it, or whatever. Just
That's
just in
why
case.
they're doing what they're doing now. And they show, I mean, the pictures are ridiculous. I mean, they're like close-up pictures of her face. And it doesn't even look like a face anymore. It's just like this weird. She's a mummy. You can't even tell it's a person anymore. And they just keep showing them, and it's just for shock and awe, and like, oh my god,
Yeah.
That's how fucking lowbrow bottom shelf lawyering by these prosecution, because it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter. They don't care. They got their indictment, and that's all. That's what it is. Get them indicted so we can spend all this fucking money. If the indictment protects them against any civil litigation, so it's on from there after an indictment. Okay, go ahead, push play.
Pause.
Just skip right to the slow walk instead of the projector, Your Honor. 108H. And again, Special Agent Holker, closer up view.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now I'll put State's Exhibit 108I on the overhead.
So here's a photograph. You can see the top of the head of Miss Noble at the bottom of the photograph, along with a black USB cord that was wrapped around her neck and then up around the tree branch.
And what is, can you circle the USB cord?
And then it comes down a little bit around there as well.
Hard to see that, the light shining right on it. And while you were observing the remains, what else did you notice?
There were a couple of pieces of evidence around the remains that I would then put down an evidence placard and eventually collect as well.
And can you describe what those were?
There was one of the first things I collected was a black water bottle that was near the remains.
What letter am I on, Becky, please? J. Thank you. Show you what's been marked as 108, J, K, and L. Do you see your initials on those photographs?
I do.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of different viewpoints of the remains?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm placing State's Exhibit 108L on the overhead. Permission to publish, Your Honor? No objection. And then you indicated some of the items you saw around the remains was a water bottle. What do we see in this picture?
Yeah, so here's just another perspective of the
Hello, Lady Law. Nice to see you, my darling. Hope you're well.
remains looking at her left side, but you can see near her left side on the ground is a black water bottle.
Where's she been?
She's a busy girl. She just changed jobs and stuff. And I think the last few weeks she's been either working or fighting my battles on Twitter for me. So I think, it's one or the other. But it's always lovely to see her. I do miss her. But yeah.
Can you circle that again, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand out of the way this time.
There's the black water bottle.
State's Exhibit
And if
108.
you can see me, you can see the screen that's right behind me. You can see.
So here's another perspective just from the other side.
Everyone looking in my direction. It was fucking horrifying.
I think that's a beautiful weather. That's a blessing. So that's a blessing. Yes, be crazy busy with work. Yes. Well, we miss you. You know what, we love you.
Side now. Just once again, documenting the body as I was upon walking up and getting all different viewpoints of it.
And you can see the USB cord in this photograph.
Yes, ma'am.
Boy, they got a fix on me, don't they, at the camera?
Jay.
As they're showing these horrifying pictures.
So here's a photograph of the right side of the.
Well, they must have been showing you then instead of the pictures.
They want to document my reaction to these pictures. You know what I mean? Fucking, because it's the Law and Crime Network, man. They're not centrist journalism. They're not. If you think that you're going to get the truth from Dateline, Law and Crime, any of these shows, you're not. That's not what they're there for. They're not there to inform you so you can figure out. Even your local news, they're not there to try to make the truth come to light. That's what court's for. But the media, it's fucking stop watching. Don't believe any of it. It's garbage.
Yeah.
You're one of the only podcasts that I've been involved with that I've heard about my case that isn't just completely sensationalized. You know, even people within the true crime genre. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't consider you true crime, but if you're, I mean, there's like 15 different shows on true crime podcasts about my case, and you listen to them. They're ridiculous. The Vanished podcast, it's sensationalism. It's not even journalism.
Yeah, it's likes. That's all people want is likes, and but that's what people go for. Look, it's sexy. It's what people want. It's they don't care about the truth. If it sounds like, oh, this is exciting, there's no excitement in something that's boring or that there's no sense to it.
Is my case? If she just went out there and killed herself, committed suicide, is that more interesting than here's a guy who's both his children have died? He obviously killed them also. I mean, on my case, what the? They don't care. They don't, and they made it out that I had killed my children. We had a lady on that was from Westerville, and it wasn't just like the podcast media. It was mainstream fucking media that convinced the Westerville and all of Columbus that I'd murdered my children. How awful would it be to lose your kids? I lost both my sons. Horrible, you lose your children. It had nothing to do with anything. There was no case. There was no investigation because they died horribly. I mean, in normal ways. And then they take it and then they just say, hey, look at this. And now you got like hundreds of thousands of people that think I'm a serial killer. Stop what they're manipulating you. Because that's way more interesting than, well, she's just some fucked up chick that decided to kill herself. How fucking interesting is that? It's not. What's interesting is that the police and the media and the court systems, it's all corrupt. And this is what they do. This is a perfect example of what they do on all cases. This is what they fucking do. That's interesting, but no one seems to be interested in any of that.
Don't care. They don't care. Unfortunately, they don't care.
It fucks up their perception of what life's, like reality. And it's not.
Yeah. We got a thing fitting exactly what you're saying here. I got this T-shirt made and this mug made, right? These two women on Twitter were on about me, about how ridiculous. They were like, oh, this guy probably thinks that everyone's innocent unless proven guilty. And they were like, yeah, he does.
You're
and they were laughing
supposed to
about
think
me.
that way, you fucking dummies.
They were laughing, and then Lady Law comes in with a quote about the first, the Constitution and stuff. It's like just showing how thick these people are. They're the same people that probably still think you're guilty, thinks everyone's guilty, and all that. It's just ridiculous. So, but there are people like that out there that just want to listen to the Vanish podcast and all that because
Dylan, they're, and I'm not like, my IQ is normal, whatever 100, whatever fucking normal is. But these people are fucking dumb, man. And I mean, to be manipulated in such a way. How could you not know by watching Dateline? How many Datelines you watch before it just becomes the same thing over and over and over again? They're not telling you the truth. They're just trying to get you to watch. So they tell a story that makes you watch until the end, until the 2 hours is over, and you're like, "Oh, I wonder what the case turned out to be like." And then then it's all about the decision, the verdict. It's the same thing, and they use the same catchphrases, like, "Well, we knew it was someone close to them because of the way they were murdered. This was obviously a passion crime." How the fuck would you know something like that? And they keep saying it to people. I hope you know what I'm talking about if you watch Dateline.
Yeah.
The police always say, "Well, it was obviously a crime of passion because they were stabbed so many times." There's no evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been a random fucking serial killer that decided to stab the person fucking 30 times. They're saying that because they're putting a case on someone that's close to them, so they just say that.
Yeah.
You guys have to know what's going on. You have to.
Oh, the thing is, you're preaching to the converted now. Right? Everyone here knows all this. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm
anyone
also doing
with
this
announced.
This is my telling my story forever. It's always going to be on the internet. Anybody wants to know anything about my case, go to this case, watch our podcast, and I'll explain it all to you. And it's really super fucking obvious. It's obvious as fuck. The cliche remarks. Well, we had to get this thing going immediately, like Grubbs is saying, right? We had the time was of the essence. That is just the thing that they say about all cases. There was no reason to have to get this thing going quickly in the beginning of my case because there was no body. If there was a body, you got 48 hours to figure it out, right? There was no crime. There was no body. There was no evidence of any crime. But this moron is on TV breaking out with the book. Well, what do you say here? Well, you tell everybody time was of the essence. Why was time of the essence? It wasn't, because there wasn't any body. They say the same things over and over and over again. It's a script that they use. It's a book. It's literally, they go into a book because they're not smart. They're not thinking out of the box. Each case is different, right? Each case has its own, and their government, they have a manual. What do you do when someone goes missing? You key in on the husband. Do you know why? Because the husband always did it. No, it's because you have all that information about him, and it's all related to the person that's missing. And you can go in there and collect that evidence, and you can make whatever story you want if you're smart.
Smart, yeah.
So they use the cliche. Right. They use these little terms and it's the same thing over and over and over again. It's fucking pathetic. And what's sad, I like Dateline. I don't want to disrespect Dateline. They really did a really great thing. It was about 50-50 between people that thought I did it and thought I was innocent. Now it's like 95-5 because of Dateline. So they've really changed the public perception. So I really appreciate what they did. But they've been doing it for 32 years. They've seen people get railroaded. They've seen this. They know the system, and they don't really go out and say things against it because they're making money off the system the way it is. So they don't. If I worked for Dateline for 32 years, I would become an advocate, being like, do you know how many people are in prison for life for things they didn't do? I mean, wouldn't you have to try to get people out? They're not. There should be a show on every week on NBC, completely dedicated to getting innocent people out of prison. That's how much the problem is. Why isn't it? Why isn't there? Because they don't want to change the system, because the system's been so good to them, so good to Dateline. No offense to Dateline, I get it.
Well, I caught you. I caught you.
And that's not paranoid weird shit. I'm sure you, Dylan. How many trials have you reviewed?
Well, just this. I mean, look, we do. You know what? Probably in depth, probably about 20 odd now. In 20. Depth.
By now, you must see it. You have to.
And you do see it. Sorry, right. Go on.
No, I'm saying. I mean, you after 20 trials, it doesn't become the same thing over and over again. That the prosecution.
It's quite predictable.
it's they use the same tactics over and over and over again because
Yeah.
they're not thinking out. They're trained to think this certain way, and they're trained to go into the public and the media and say certain things to get what they need done, which is just to operate, just to be like. It's not like that in every jurisdiction, but in places like Westerville, they need cases. They need to have reason to be because they're collecting so much money. And like Mighty Mate said, if you don't spend the money that's in your budget, you're not going to get it the next year or however many years it takes. So and in my case, they showed up with no evidence. They were murdered right from the get-go. Why? Because they wanted it to be murder so that they could spend all that fucking money. It's corruption.
I think most cases that we cover, I think you can tell pretty quickly whether the defendant is guilty or not very quickly because we would do a trial now on day 40. We still haven't seen any evidence of guilt to the defendants. So when you drag stuff on that long, you've got to question then what or why are we even on trial? But that's another trial. We've got some comments here as well. Go on.
Look at the picture of me right there. That's the picture of a guilty man. Look at his body language. Look at how his eyes are.
It's sad.
That's the people that I'm guilty. It's stuff like that. They're like, I can tell just by the way you were sitting in your chair. What are you? You're fucking insane. You're an insane person. You should fucking kill yourself. No, I can't say that, right? You get X'd off. You should unalive yourself.
Well, I mean,
how's that?
But to be fair, I don't make any monetization on this anyway, so it's all good. Shout out if Carol's rapist still here. Carol, if you're still here, thank you very much for the donation for my charity prostate cancer drive. Thank you for that. That's way too generous of you, but thank you. I would want to get that in there in case she's still here. If not, I'll message her on Discord to thank her anyway. I thought this was funny. Chappie Guard 5791. For those that don't know, Eric calls me Chappie. And the guard is Lady Law. So Lady Law is my guard. So Chappie Guard 5791. LNC Core TV are just censored. Yeah, I can't say that word. Sorry, Chris, but I agree with you.
Yes, that's the one. Sensationalists. They take stories and make them interesting.
Yeah.
They're not interesting.
People can't
the
have
girl went and killed herself. Emily had depression issues. She went out and killed herself. And that's that. Well, it's interesting that maybe that they took the case and turned it into a murder trial. That's interesting, right? No, not really. I guess not.
Yeah,
to me, when it happens to you, it becomes interesting. I'll tell you
that. Just Juris Mel says, sad state of that justice isn't everybody's priority. Everyone's priority, absolutely. I hope Stephanie's doing well and didn't get local blowback for her appearance. I've not heard back from Stephanie. I don't know. Hopefully she's doing well. I'm not sure.
I think I spoke to her recently. I think I sent her an email. She's fine. She's a tough broad, man. She does.
Yeah, she's good.
She was so. I mean, that was honest to her. She got fooled, and she felt so bad about thinking so badly of a person that she shouldn't. That she didn't know, and she sees it. She's like, and she started crying, man. I mean, that woman's a decent person. And I'm sure most of the people in Westerville are decent people that now probably feel horrible about what they thought about me. But
and this is interesting. Lou says the same as you. On YouTube vids about Matt's case, there's always far more comments supporting than the not guilty verdict. Supporting the not guilty verdict. So that is probably down to Dateline a lot. That more people have seen that now, changed their minds. Erin Hack says LL, but of course everyone is innocent.
Lou, that was now. It wasn't in the beginning.
Yeah, no, that's what she means. Now, yeah.
Yeah, now it's 95% to 5%. But before I got arrested and when I got arrested, it was 95 for 5 against. It was completely opposite.
Just says, but of course everyone is innocent unless proven guilty, and even then innocent people are sadly convicted. Absolutely, Chris. Absolutely sickening to see. Law and crime. Why knows with borderline personality disorders love to hate and assume everyone's guilty. Yeah, we go through it now with Karen Reid case. A lot of people are like, we're there for the victims. The victim is John O'Keefe's family, and yes, absolutely. But you don't get justice by, basically hounding a woman that's innocent. that or presumed to be innocent unless proven guilty. That's what I'll never forgive them. I think they trash people, and until something like this happens to them or their loved ones, they'll never change. So
it's a tactic, and tell me if I'm wrong, Dylan. It's illegal for the press in England to report about cases before they go to trial. Here in America, they use it. The law enforcement uses that pressure against when and it's in my book, as I'm leaving my interrogation, they're laughing at me. They're going, one of the things they said, good luck on social media. Good luck on social media. I didn't know what they meant. Within a week I did, because they go on, they spread disinformation on social media to get the community against you. And then it becomes like a torch, going after Frankenstein, whatever the fuck that is, type of attitude. People just jump on board and just start hammering you. And you're beyond yourself. You're looking for someone that might be dead that you love. And then they start talking about your kids that are dead that you never get over, and they're using that against you as if and law enforcement knows this. They use that tactic against you because it is a pressure that you can't imagine. It's ruined me. I can talk about it now because I fucking hate the people that did what they did to me, and I want people to know what it's like to go through something like that. You have no idea what that kind of pressure does to you. It's fucked me up in the head for life. I'm fucked up. I mean, and if you're guilty, you confess, because you just want whatever's going on at that moment to end. Hey, if you confess, you're going to go to an innocent person will confess to a crime that they didn't commit to get that pressure to go away. That's important. Innocent people will say, okay, I did this just to get it to end, because it's the worst psychological pressure that you could have on your fucking head. It's fucking horrible. And they use it. The police know it, and they use it. They stick you in jail. They stick you in a dungeon and cut off all communication, pretty much. And you're in there waiting trial. And then your lawyer comes in and says, hey man, they got a lot of evidence against you, man. You might want to take this fucking plea. You're looking at like the death penalty, or you might be able to get out in 15 years. You know what I mean? It's fucking wrong. It's business, right? I hope you know what I'm talking about. That's the type of things that they'll do to you. So you're an innocent person. You're like, I just want this to end. I'll do my 15 years. Your life's over anyway. All your shit's gone. Your house gone. Your job's gone. All your friends, all your relationships with all your relatives and all your friends are destroyed. And that gets to you. And why would an innocent man ever admit to a crime that they didn't do? Because you have no idea what it's like to be under that pressure. You don't know. You just want that to go away, that pressure. And
it's interesting. That doesn't get talked about a lot. That doesn't get talked about enough, because if you take a plea deal, or if you do anything like that, people instantly think, oh, well, they were guilty all the time. But no, the pressure that you must be under, man. And also what you said about the death penalty against 15 years. Well, you're looking at that going, shit, man. The corruption that you've got against me, is it worth the risk of it? 15 years sounds good. If I could get out afterwards, like, it's not worth it.
I'm a decent guy. I can do my 15. It's not even like you don't like look at what that will do if you say guilty. I'm guilty. It's just you know that what's going on at that very moment is going to go away. You just want it to change. So and I don't know if it's an intelligence level or what it is. I know that it works probably better with people that aren't quite as like aware of how the world is. So they take advantage of like people with lower IQs, and they're just like, okay, right in the interrogation, they can get people to admit that they did things that they didn't do, because that's the type of pressure. But in my case, they threw me in a dungeon. I started hearing voices, man. They stuck me in solitary confinement. I lost my fucking mind, man. I didn't know what was real, what wasn't real. I would wake up. Did this happen? Am I here? Where's the evidence? Maybe there's evidence all over the place. I went crazy in jail. I was hearing voices. I lost my mind. But however I was raised, I guess, there was no way that I was like, good, then I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life. I don't care. I'm not going to admit to something I didn't do. But I mean, I can see now how that might work with someone else. You know what I mean?
But was it no? But to you though, was it not like a case of you lost everything anyway? So who cares? Because
I didn't know I'd lost everything at that point.
Okay.
I still had tons of money in the bank. One thing was I didn't have kids to take care of. My kids were gone.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck these people, man. Fuck them. So you know what I mean. And I did. I started reading the Bible, and all of a sudden, a lot of that came to play in my life. All of a sudden, God revealed Himself to me. And once you believe in God, and you're not going to do the wrong thing. You know what I mean? And that would have been the wrong thing to ever. And just to let you know, Diane Menashe came in and started talking. Wait until the end. I might want to wait to the end. Wait until you find out how she treated me when I was in jail or waiting trial, trying to see if I would take a deal. Trying to see. Yeah. She didn't know. There's a reason my trial was 8 days, and then other trials. There was one lady that was on the stand for 8 days. Just the person that was accused was on the stand for 8 days. There's a reason for that. It's money. Down the rabbit hole. If I had $2 million, $3 million, and my attorneys had access to all that, I would have had a trial like Murdaugh, and it would have been 30 days of testimony. My trial was literally 8 fucking days, and there was more discovery than any case that they'd ever been involved with. There was more evidence in my case than anything my primary attorney, Court Gatterdam, had ever been a part of. Why was my trial only fucking 8 days? There was 5 days of testimony. Because that's all the money I had. Get it?
All right.
Get it?
I do get it, but I think let's cover that at the end a bit more as well, because I think that attach everything in together. But I do get what you're saying. But yeah, look, it's tough, man. And I think what Aaron says here, like Karen Reid, they had her on manslaughter, then they upped it to second degree murder. You know, probably put pressure on her to plead. You know, that's what they're doing, putting pressure.
Wait until you find out how fucking she treated me when I was in jail. Going crazy because they put you in there and they know that it's going to be psychological, and you're going to start slipping, and all of a sudden you're like, you become malleable, you become manipulable, and the defense and the prosecutors are on the same side. They're the same people. They're not against each other. They're with each other, trying to do what they need to do to what's in their best interests. So they're not there representing you. That's the prosecutors aren't there representing the people of the state of Ohio. They're not. And so you get these situations where they're gonna come in and start, hey, all of a sudden the death penalty was fucking mentioned to me at one of my lawyer visits. I'm like, whoa, death penalty? What the fuck? No, I got life. I'm facing life with a bottom of 15. What's this bullshit about she wanted to see how I was going to react to it. Hey, let's get this thing. I mean, he's only got so much money for this much of a trial. Maybe it'd be best if we just got this guy to plead. So when your defense attorney is working for the prosecution to get you to plead, you know what I mean? And they come in and they start saying things to you. And I was like, don't even come in here with that shit with me, because I'm never, ever, I'm going down swinging. I decided that early on. I don't care if I'm crazy. I don't care what you come at me with. I don't care if they're going to burn me at the fucking stake. I'm never going to say I'm guilty of this, because I'm not. So that was that. Then they went on to the next thing, which looks like we're going to trial. And I'm not. That's all cases. It's not just mine. It's all cases. But it's how they work it. It's a business. And you're right. Maybe we should go at that at the end and just kind of.
I think I'm trying to steer you away from it a little bit, because I want to keep it to the end, because a lot of people do actually want to hear that story, and if we do miss my part,
that's why I'm on here. That's why I do this every week. People need to know. People, dummies like 100%. Me, who are out there in the public that think that it's all about justice and getting. It's not. Your government is corrupt, and you're funding a corrupt government. And they don't give a fuck about liberty or your fucking freedoms or finding justice for someone. They'll lie about someone's suicide and make it a murder so that they could do what they do, which is what I'm talking about. That needs to be exposed because it's a corrupt bullshit system. And until you become part of it and are a victim of it, okay, whatever. I guess I'll just go on. Well, good for you. Nice life you have. But you're putting money in a system that fucked me and my legacy and my mother's money and my entire life out of all of it. I'm destroyed. I'm fucking homeless because of this bullshit system. And if you're just gonna pretend like, oh, whatever, well, fuck you, fuck all y'all.
Here we are. That's just a taster of what we'll get at the end. But yeah, just trust me, it's a lot of stuff to come out at the end, which I only know a part of. But there's a ton to come out. Right. Just a reminder, if you haven't got his book, please consider buying his book, Emily Estates Suicide in Ohio. And the only promotion I will do for this month is my charity. If you have got spare change, please consider donating to charity for my March 11,000 a day walk I do for prostate cancer. But otherwise, I'd rather you give it to Matt. He needs it more than anybody. Right, here we go. Let's go back to this.
The body, just more focusing on her legs and her arms and her feet.
I'm going to put State's Exhibit 108K back on the overhead, just focusing on the ligature. Can you circle where one end of the cord is at?
So one end of the cord is going to be right there, kind of in the middle of the photograph.
And do you know, based upon your observations of the remain, where the other end of the cord was?
It was laying on like the back of her neck, back area.
And can you describe how the cord was wound around the tree, so to speak?
So there were two pieces of the cord that were on the branch and then came down around her neck.
And was a cord around the branch once?
Twice.
Get his book. Look at him.
Hey, it's the same shirt I'm wearing right now.
I know. I saw that.
Great.
Show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 108N and 108N. You see your initials on those photographs?
I do.
And those are fair and accurate depictions of the photographs.
Yes, ma'am.
And permission published to the jury. No judgment. Placing State's Exhibit 108M on the overhead.
So there is a photograph, once again, on the bottom of the projector. You can see the head of Miss Noble and then the USB cord going up towards the tree branch.
And where is the one end of the cord?
It's kind of tucked behind that wire, but it's in that area.
And then is there a knot in the cord?
There is. There's a knot up near the top of the photograph.
And did you observe a knot down by the neck?
I do not recall.
And was there, do you know where the other end of the cord was, and can you see it in this photograph?
Yes, ma'am. So you can see it going down the back of Miss Noble.
And then States 108N. What are we looking at here?
So there's a close-up of a hard plastic that's on the end of the USB cord. The other end of the cord is going to come off here and then go down, but that's pretty much the end of the USB cord wrapped around a loop.
Now I want to compare 108N to 108M. So you can see that 108. And then where is that 108? Put it back up there.
So that hard plastic I was just talking about is right there in the middle of the photograph, which is the same thing as the left photograph. Both the circled items are the same thing.
And what was keeping the cord suspended from the branch?
That hard plastic was keeping it from the other end falling off and everything falling apart.
And was it fastened in that part of the cord or hanging there? How
It
would
was
you
just,
describe it?
it was, as you saw, the hard plastic was sitting there and just the weight of her body was keeping it from moving.
Now, after you documented the remains, what did you do by photographing them? What did you do next?
So then that's when I get, so then I actually used my 3D scanner, went around different areas. I actually have to put up spheres so that the scans can go together. But I did multiple scans around, just get more measurements if I needed them for a later purpose. And then we were ready to remove Miss Noble's body from the tree.
And how were you going to do that?
So this is where I consult the coroner investigator, Mr. Carlson, because the body is his responsibility. I can't do anything. I can't touch the body without his permission. So at that point, I talked to him and we determined the best way to get the body out from hanging from the tree is to cut the USB cord.
Wait till you hear how they cut her down. You don't have to stop it.
Shows defense counsel states 108O and 108P and handing them to Agent Holcomb. Are those your initials on those photographs?
They are.
Do they fairly and accurately depict the scene as you saw it on September 16th of 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
They should have videotaped it.
Place states exhibit 108P on the overhead. And what is this?
So that's just going to be a closer up photograph of the head, shoulder, and neck area of Miss Noble.
And can you see?
Yeah, you don't want to look at that
part of
shit.
this photograph?
You can. It's at the top of the photograph right there where I'm circling.
He doesn't show it, does it?
No, don't worry about it. It doesn't. It doesn't.
And then the other end that we've talked about a couple of times comes off the side.
But it's on a projector screen right behind me in court.
States 108.
And they're horrible. Brutal.
So there's another photograph of the knot that I talked about earlier in my other photographs.
And where again is this at in relationship?
Right about in the middle of from Miss Noble's neck to the tree branches, right on the middle.
Tension. Look at the tension on that fucking cord. Those bones broke because of that tension.
And after consulting with the coroner's investigator, how did you decide was the best or most secure way to remove Emily's remains from the tree branch?
It was to cut the USB cord with the state of decomp that she was in. Her neck was hanging down. We were afraid that if we moved the neck, it could damage any potential evidence. So it was determined the easiest way and the safest way to preserve any evidence and preserve her body would be to cut the USB cord.
Well, how else are you gonna
And
get her down?
who cut the USB cord?
I did.
And when you cut it, did you mark it in a certain way?
I did. I put some packing tape on the ends where I cut. I initialed. I put my date on it just so I could remember that I cut that cord.
And where did you cut it?
Near the end of, or near the area of her neck.
Why would you cut it there?
And how many pieces did that result in?
So I cut it 3 times.
away from where it was. I mean, and then it'll look, you know what I mean?
I did.
Why would you cut it right next to her neck?
I did.
Yeah.
And take fucking pictures of it. Document it.
That's a bit weird, though, isn't it?
They did document it, man. They just kept it out of the evidence. Oh yeah, hey,
No.
here's the ligature. Here's her head. Here's her fed. Look at all the. No, nothing. No pictures of it. Nothing. Zero.
Jesus.
Do you think that they're that stupid, or are they that corrupt?
Yeah, well, yeah, the toss-up. There's a question here for you from Just Jurors. At any time during the trial, did you, or did you want to cry?
Yeah, I did cry several times. I was numb. By that point, I taught myself how to be as numb as I could. Literally, don't get upset. And I did a couple times. I kind of like rolled my eyes a few times, but that was it. And I cried when they would mention Joey. I can't talk about my kid without crying. So when Joey would come up, I mean, that one part, I'm starting to cry now just thinking about it. When Diane Minaj, he goes, he didn't go in the woods. You think maybe he didn't want to go in the woods? You know what I mean? And then she explains why, and I broke down, man. It was just, he's like, yeah, I mean, of course you wouldn't want to go in the woods, because 10 months prior to this, his kid Joey was hanging in the fucking woods. Why would he want to go in the woods? And I broke down, man.
Fucking hell.
But I did my best not to. And then when my verdict, that was more of not really. I mean, I can't explain that feeling, because literally I shut everything down from the day I called her in all the way up until my verdict. I'd never cried. I never got upset. I just was just this numb. I was just like completely numb, because I was dying. You know, they were killing me. They were murdering me, and there was nothing I could do about it. And I'm not going to whine about it. I'm not going to be. We're all dying, right? You're dying. Everybody's dying right now. Eventually, it's gonna happen to you. And all of a sudden, when they said not guilty, all of a sudden that was life just busting out of me. I'm like, oh my God, I fucking made it. And it was just woof. You think I would be like smiling and fucking, hey, thanks. No, it was just like this tears, man. Not tears.
Well, it's depression.
It was pressure.
The pressure, man. It's fucking cooker pressure, though.
Dude, it was intense.
Jesus
man.
Christ.
It was super intense. Yeah, I cried a few times, and trust me, court TV. Every time I did, they were right there, right in my face. Hey, here he is. Is this crocodile tears, or is he really? Then they showed. I don't mean to laugh, but I try to keep humor in this. I guess there was a kid that shot somebody. He was a 17-year-old kid who was guarding someone's property at a riot, and he shot some people, and it was around that same time. You probably know about who it is. And they showed that kid crying at trial, and you could kind of tell he was like faking it, because it was just, he was like, and they were trying to be like, hey, Matt's doing it too. You could see my fucking vein in the side of my neck when I lost it at court. I mean, how are you gonna fake that? I was free. I mean, I just don't know where people come from sometimes when they make these statements. Look, he's faking it. He's faking it. His kid comes up at trial, Joey, and he starts crying, and he's faking it. It's like,
what about Kyle Rittenhouse? Yeah, you were talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. That's the one you were talking about just now, Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah. Okay.
Who should have shot more of them motherfuckers?
Chris Mullen says, what was the prosecution theory regarding how the murder was committed? Was she allegedly unconscious, or did they find sedatives in the system? Otherwise, would there not be signs of a struggle?
You have to wait until the end and their final argument, because they don't tell you that until their final argument, because Diane wasn't able to cross them. That's why they did that. It was you know what I mean? So Diane could have tore it up. There was no evidence of anything they said that I did. At the end, they presented this case, and we didn't have a chance to cross. So that there was no evidence that their story worked, other than that I wasn't on my phone for 40 minutes. So there's the opportunity. The rest of the time, there was an excuse for her. Even the 3 hours that I was sleeping, there was an excuse, because Emily wouldn't have been out there then. If she left at the time they said she left, she would have been back from foraging at night, which she never fucking did. I think she did once or twice. But that's part of it too. But it didn't fit their story. They needed this murder to happen in this 40-minute window that no one saw me fucking leave the house, or they saw Emily. No one even saw Emily leave the house. They just said John Kramer did. John Kramer didn't see her leave. I'm too far down the rabbit hole.
I know. Look, Lou says Kyle did have a real panic attack on the stand. It was real, but still, local crime wino said he was faking it. Matt is on one today. He is on one today. In a good way, Josie. She was had to be wondering by this point, oh, well, how stupid. I don't know. If you didn't watch Kyle, you would think he was fake because the mainstream media told you so. Hey,
right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
Matt
the
is on one.
mainstream media is telling you that because they wanted to make it interesting. They don't know whether he was faking or not. The kid was a child. He's 17, 18. He's in this situation where the state is trying to murder him. You're not like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll go to prison. You're on the gallows, man. They're gonna kill you if they say guilty. You're going to a place that you have no idea how awful it is. We're not criminals. We're not into this fucking lifestyle. You're going. When I'm in jail, dudes are telling me, hey, this is how this is going to be. You're going to go to a level 3 prison, and this is what happens. This is what's going to. I immediately started looking for a place to kill myself because that was not going to happen to me. Because they're going to kill you anyway. Once you're in prison and they're like, hey, what's your paperwork? Oh, you murdered a woman. They're going to start poking fucking holes in you. That's going to be your life until you decide to off yourself, which a lot of times is jumping off some sort of fucking deal with a rope with a sheet tied over your neck. It's fucking horrible. And that kid, that's a 17-year-old kid was presented with that. I couldn't even, that poor child to go through something like that. And then all of a sudden they said not guilty. I mean, of course he's going to cry. Trust me, you're going to cry. It's intense.
But it's interesting what you're saying there because also I forget sometimes you were in jail, you weren't in prison, so you were in a soft place in some ways.
Well, it's not. It's different. It's less. It's more dangerous in prison, unless you get PC, protective custody. But jail isn't meant for an extended amount of time. Julian Assange, I think, is in a jail awaiting trial. That he's being tortured. It's torture. Prisons, not torture in that way. Prisons, because it's dangerous because there's other people around, but you can move around. You can go places. There's the things you can do. In jail, there's nothing there. You are in a fucking pod, which is tiny, with 4 other fucking freaks of nature. and not all of them. Some of them guys are really cool, man, but most of them are fucking career criminals, man. Or you're in solitary, which you go fucking crazy in solitary.
Yeah.
And I think they have Julian Assange in solitary. He's been in solitary for how long? He's insane. He's going insane right now. I don't know what's going on over there in England, but maybe you should try to get that guy the fuck out of there. I don't know what the fucking. I don't know why there's more people.
We don't know. We don't really know because no one tells anything. Right. I mean, that's the thing.
He's insane right now. You start hearing voices. I started hearing voices, bad ones, schizophrenia or whatever that is. It's not because I have schizophrenia. It's because they put me in solitary. And if you're in solitary under that immense pressure, you're going to start going insane. I was just talking about this with a really good friend of mine the other day, what I went through psychologically in jail. And it's not like the police and the prosecution don't know what's going on with you because everyone goes through it. Jail is horrifying. The food, the not knowing that everything's recorded. You start slipping. You start not knowing what is real and what isn't real. You don't know. You start thinking memories are not really memories. That there's something that you've made up in your head. You don't know. You don't know what. All of a sudden, everyone's you become extremely paranoid. And I still struggle with that now. I think everybody's after me all the time. Like I don't trust anyone. It just destroys you. It destroys your mentality. It fucks you up, and they know this. And then they'll take that, and all of a sudden your lawyer shows up with a plea deal, and you're just like, fuck yeah, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Just fuck it, give it to me, whatever it is. Just get me the fuck out of here. You start to look forward to prison because there's prisons like You got more shit to do. Jail is fucking horrifying. And it's not. I wasn't in a dorm room situation, which it's pretty bad dorm room situation because you got all these fucking assholes everywhere. But when I was in a violent offenders pod, where it's not fun. And they feed you horribly. They treat you horribly. It's not anywhere that it's torture. It's fucking torture.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know, but I can only imagine from what you're saying.
You
I
can't.
mean,
And then when you start
hell.
like you're on the phone and you're talking to people, and I'm sure, I think Lou's a psychiatrist. You'd probably have to talk to a doctor about this, but I would be on the phone talking to someone, and then by the end of the phone conversation, it would take like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden I didn't know who I was talking to anymore. They would turn into someone that was it was just that. I don't know if you understand what that is. And how insane that is. All of a sudden you're talking to someone that you love, you're like a step parent, and all of a sudden by the end of the phone conversation you're talking to the devil. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, well, I love you, I'll see you later, and you hang the phone up and you go back and sit in those little chairs somewhere, and you're fucking insane. It's insane. It's the craziest fucking thing. And I'm here to talk about it because it helps to tell you about this stuff. It's losing your mind. It's in my book. Get my book. There's a lot in my book. Losing your mind is a very difficult thing to describe. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's meant people.
No, I don't.
Issues.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have taken me very long to live like that, to kill myself, to just be like, I'm done. You can't live like this. I wasn't gonna make it because you're insane. But as soon as they said not guilty, it was like poof, it was over. I was like, fuck y'all. I'm not crazy. This is what happened. I'm gonna go tell everybody about it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is fucking torture what they did to me. They ruined me.
I mean, look, we all know something about mental health and all that, but not to this extent of what you're discussing.
Eventually, you just come to the realization that you'd be better off dead. You just this isn't worth it. So I started to look for a place to hang a sheet. And you know what they would do? That's the only way you can really do it where I was at, was to find a niche in a door frame, which you can make with this with the nail clippers that they give you. And then you make a niche, and then you make a rope in your jail cell with your sheet that they give you. You're only allowed one sheet. They would throw sheets under my door at night. You're only allowed one sheet. They would throw at night, lying in my fucking cell. All of a sudden, a sheet would come fucking into my cell from under the door. You know what I mean? Making sure I had sheets.
No,
They always made sure I had sheets. Because you know what the best thing to close this case would be? For Matt to kill himself. Case closed. Guilty as fuck. We were right, folks. This guy was an asshole. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I was looking at. It's fucking crazy, man. Sheets would come flying underneath my door. And luckily I had a sense of humor sort of about it. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. Thanks for that, you know. Thanks for this sheet.
Yeah.
It's
I
okay,
mean, look,
you can laugh about it. It's funny to me now. I'm like, fuck, but that's what they do.
but you just wonder how many other people they do that to, and how many people actually take them up on that offer.
There's more suicides in jail than there are in prison. Way more. There's more suicide. That's where they do it, jail, because they don't know. That's because you're psychologically, jail is way worse than prison. If you can believe that.
Well,
prison's
I wouldn't have imagined that until you told me that. I wouldn't have believed that, to be quite honest with you.
Right.
Until you just said
being paranoid. Do I sound fucking paranoid? Do I sound like I'm lying to you? That I'm just making that up?
But I think people sugarcoat.
You're dumb. If you've been watching all
people
these
sugarcoat it,
and me coming on here every week telling you about, do you think I'm fucking lying to you? I'm spending all this time because I want to lie to you, that I'm just making all this shit up. What the fuck am I gaining from this? I'm not making any money doing this on every Saturday. I'm not. That's what they do, the system. And no offense to the COs at the Delaware County Jail, but when you guys would do that, I would start laughing because it was funny to me because I'm weird. I'm just like, oh, thanks for the sheets, fellas.
Yeah, look, you're giving different insight now into things that it's like
But
my impression of jail always was that it was a lot softer in jail than it was in prison.
it is softer in the fact that because they're there and you don't want any new charges, that it's not as violent. If you read my book, there's always the tension that there's some sort of sexual assault going on, there's some sort of violence going on, but for the most part, people in jail are awaiting trial. That's all that is, or they're waiting to be shipped off to prison. They're not meant for an extended amount of time.
So I imagine
though
that's why
months, you go to trial, and then you have your fucking sentencing, and off you go. And then you go.
That's
to
why they try
horribly violent place. But the situation I was in, I was looking at death. It wasn't 15 to life. It was they were. If I got found guilty, I was going to be murdered in prison because they don't treat you well if you murder children or women or rape somebody. That kind of like you're that type of crime. I would have been done. It would have been over. So and I wasn't afraid of violence in jail. It was way more psychological, and it was just really. I complained once that I got tinnitus because it's in my book. There's a lot of high end. There's no low end. There's no material around to soak up the high ends. So when you're just in normal life, there's stuff around to soak up the high end sound waves. So it's all high end. It's just clang, 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 and it's just you're woo in your fucking head all the time. So I said, hey, maybe I should put in a request to see a doctor. So I did. And I went down there, and just the way they treated me when I went down there, I was just being honest. I'm like, hey, is this tinnitus thing? I mean, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going crazy, or whatever. And they're just laughing at me. And all these COs are sitting, and the nurse is just like, whatever. When you get to prison, they'll deal with it there. That's what I got from her. So there was no empathy from any of those people. They all thought I was guilty. And they treat you accordingly. They treat you like a piece of shit.
We've got someone else joining us now that we talk a piece of shit. Here he is.
Hey,
exactly.
Mighty Meat, man. What's up, brother?
Gentlemen.
How you doing, man? Obviously, he's not a piece of shit. He's a Mighty Meat. He's our main man. He's my bro. How you doing, mate? Oh shit! Hang on.
You hung up on him, Dylan.
I did. No, he's here.
Mighty Meat, do you mind that I use you as a reference when I talk about like law enforcement?
No, go ahead. Go for it, man.
Thanks, man.
Go for it.
You got to turn yourself up, though. I can barely hear
you. Let me see what's going on.
Turn that fed up, X-Fed. The best thing that he said, Mighty Meat goes, when they put Grubs on there, he goes, I don't know if this man is really bad at his job or if he's corrupt. I haven't decided yet.
Is that a little bit better?
No.
Good for me.
Turn it up.
No? Huh. I'm all the way.
It's fine for me.
Okay.
I can hear you, but Matt's struggling.
He's just really low today, that's all.
So in this lovely city of Detroit, we have something called the Wayne County Jail, and I heard you gentlemen talking about jail versus prison. Wayne County Jail is a hellhole, and don't ever get in trouble in Detroit because then you go to Wayne County downtown, and I've taken people there, and it is a complete shit show. I would not wish Wayne County Jail on my worst enemy.
Imagine spending 15 months there.
No way. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, ending it would be the least of your worries at that point. Like, it would just, you couldn't make it. You couldn't make it for 15 months in Wayne County. So, because you have a bunch of people that just don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. So it's very much in the, it's very much in the prison. Like you're saying, don't tack on any other charges. Well, they're going forever anyways, so they're not concerned about additional charges there. They'll do whatever. So
Delaware County, where I was, is a rural. It's a suburban. So, but it was right next to Columbus, which is Franklin County. And if you know anything about Columbus, our crime rate there is like Detroit. It's really. And I would hear stories from the people where I was in Delaware that if you're a white, like older guy like me, where I would be in the fetal position underneath the table, and that's where I would spend my entire day. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that bad in Delaware, but I hear that the city jails like you got in Detroit or whatever, you're done. It's over. You're fucked.
Yeah,
it's harder to get weapons though, isn't it? In jails compared to prisons. I hear in prisons you get cell phones and drugs, and it's like where none of that's going on. I mean, are there murders in jails?
Oh yeah, in Wayne County, yeah. You have to take into the fact that half the city is corrupt too.
Right.
So for the right price, you can have whatever the hell you want in Wayne County jail.
Okay.
So.
This is interesting. I want you guys to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
Epstein, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how this is going to go, but this is part of it. You know about Epstein, right? Epstein's Island.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, do you think that our government's so corrupt that it's run by elites that are pedophiles, right? That murdered that man while he was in custody in a federal jail? You either think that, or he hung himself. You know what I'm saying? He got a sheet and he hung himself. Where do you want to go with that? Like non-conspiracy people. I get it. You either think that lizard people that run our country that kill children to live off their essence because they're fucking off-world evil shit, or that Epstein just killed himself. Which one do you believe? I'm going to say most people think that Epstein probably killed himself. He hung himself, right? Epstein had the same fractures to his neck that Emily had.
Really? Okay.
Yep. He had the both hyoid cartilage, all that, same 4 bones, same thing. Now you could think that might be bad evidence, because if you think he was strangled manually, do you know how hard it would be to strangle a man manually? I don't give a fuck how tough you think you are, and I'm a little guy. Good luck strangling me and breaking my fucking neck. You'd have to have vice grips for fucking hands, right?
Yeah.
Epstein hung himself because he was fucked. He knew he was fucked, and he had the same 4 breaks in his neck that Emily had.
I think for
Schmuck to come on and say this never happens in the history of strangulations or hangings, I misspoke. That it couldn't have happened. Oh, really? He's lying to you. All you got to do is go on Google and type in the type of injuries that Emily had to her neck, and to say that it never happens during a hanging is a fucking lie. It's just because it happens.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's interesting to you or not, but it is.
I think Jeffrey was highly encouraged. Like, I don't think he did it of his own volition.
Okay, well, there's that.
So, I mean, he could have. Same process. He could have done the same process. I just think he was encouraged to do what he did.
But just you get my point. If you think that Epstein was murdered, like someone snuck in the jail and killed him or something like that, right? That he had a cellie. You think that man had a cellie? I mean, who knows if you're getting good information? That guy was a high-profile fucking inmate, and they're not going to stick him in there with a killer, in some sort of cell with a killer. It's not going to happen. Jails aren't like that. You know what I mean? Or maybe it was. I don't know. My point is that he had the same breaks in his neck that Emily had. So it happens. That's why when my expert said, I'm not going to say that those injuries to her neck couldn't happen during a hanging, seeing that it does, and she showed you in the scientific literature that it happens. It just there wasn't anybody of Emily's. Oh, we'll go into that next. That's the next part of this trial is the forensics, is the expert shit. Wait to that. Hey,
hey, doctor.
I just caught his hair. I caught it. No, I caught him just in time. Literally caught you just in time. How we doing, brother? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good.
How you doing, Matt?
We're just going through.
Hey, Dr. Hines, what's up?
Good to see you.
You nailed it last week, Dr. Hines, when you started laughing about when that guy said, "I've used cadaver dogs 3-4 times, and I've never had success with them," and you just started giggling. You're like, "Holy shit!" You nailed that part. Thank you.
Like it's because that's the only thing I've been hearing all through this case. Cadaver dogs. I'm like, okay, then this guy should really knock it. It's a touchdown. You got an open field, run run for run for the gold. And then for some reason he's like, nope, never had success with them. I'm like, oh my god, how do you fumble that football?
What that proves is that law enforcement knows that they don't work, but they'll use cadaver dogs when they need them to be used as evidence to put someone away for life, for murder. But they know, hey, this dog is saying that there's been a cadaver in your car. That's that. Case closed. There was a dead person in your car. So says this dog that doesn't work.
Right.
Cops know this. They use that against you. They prosecutors know that they don't work, but they use them when they need them to. But when they don't need them to work, guess what? They're right there going, hey, they never work.
Strange.
Basically, our moods, whatever we feel like.
When they need them to work, they work. When they need them not to work, that's when they don't. It's literally they're fooling the public. They're tricking you into thinking that they're necessary. They're not. Fuck them. Stop paying taxes. Stop. Stop funding these people. Move the fuck out. Move to Montana. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere. Get the fuck out of those cities, man. Get the fuck out of those places.
Nah, I love Matt because every single stream he goes up into this political side of it.
I know.
Like, no to taxes. Taxation is theft.
I mean, at what point are you going to be like, West? There's the property taxes in Montana in certain places. It's like $100 a year. Do you know what the property taxes are in fucking Westerville? I think we wrote a check for $1,600 every 6 months for 1,000 square foot fucking condo. Imagine if you had a big old house. The taxes are fucking, and you're just going to be like, just keep writing these incompetent assholes this big check until you become a victim of it, and all of a sudden you realize that it's a scam.
Right.
That's your money that you work so hard for, and people just pay it like it's nothing because you're not being fucked by the system at the present time. You are. You just don't know it, that they're fucking you. That you're paying for a guy's like Grubbs, his house, his Corvette, his fucking boat at the lake, his kid's tuition to college, and he's fucking incompetent.
Right.
And this is what you're gonna get. It's corruption. So
right.
I do.
I'm gonna move it on. Hey,
by the way, look at Diane Menashe's face in that picture. Look at how she's staring at fucking Schiffel.
I know.
That's fucking hilarious.
She's staring, going, "Shut the fuck up, man." That's what she's saying. Right. Okay. Let's go on to this for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We've not got much longer left, so we'll go through this for a little bit and see.
It's
going to take 45 minutes. But
okay.
There's only 10 minutes left of the video. Yeah.
Right.
Let's be honest. We're going to stop this in a couple of minutes, so let's hear a little bit more.
Thank you. I'm going to hand you some scissors, but first look at this and see if you can identify what State's Exhibit 109 is.
Yes, ma'am. So you can see the white label. That is my evidence label that I create. It says evidence number 1, description, cord/cable, notes, cord that was around the neck of the victim. It then also has the case, the offense, the scene, location, the data was collected, my name, and my agency.
And are you able then to open that for the jury to see?
I am.
There's scissors right there.
This would be the black cord that I collected.
Right, and are those tape pieces of tape that you placed on the cord at the end of them?
Yes, ma'am. So you can see CH, my initials, 61 is my badge number, and then 9/17/20, which was the date.
And then go ahead and unwind it for the jury, please.
So here it is all unwelded.
And when you found it, there was a knot about halfway between Emily's neck and the tree branch.
Correct.
And there was an end, I believe you described, stuck a little bit below the knot in a loop.
Yes, ma'am.
And what end was that?
So it would have been somewhere right around, obviously the knot's been taken out. It would have been somewhere around the middle of the USB cord.
And again, that was the only thing keeping the USB cord around the tree branch. Looking at that cord, what was keeping it wound around the tree branch?
Would have been the black hard plastic on the end of the USB cord.
And so you're holding up a smaller piece right there in your hand. Is that it?
Yes, this is it right here in my left hand.
Was there a knot fastening it in there?
No, ma'am. It was just being supported by the loop that was coming down.
And that was the only thing keeping it wrapped around the tree branch.
Objection, Your Honor. Ask the answer.
Ask your next question.
Your Honor, may I walk this past the jury?
I will say this: at least this guy is this judge is a lot better than the judge on the Anderson trial. I'll say that. I'll say that.
But I'm just going to say this, like, but did you see how stern Diane was? You know, it was like objection, and the second time objection. She was very straight to the fact of objection, and asked and answered. Her voice. That's what I think. What you said about Zachariah. That never happened, you know, in that trial. Objection, whatever. So it's how you portray it. Or
listen, what you just said right there is something I wanted to say, because I noticed the representation from because I think it was 3 days of this, but I was like, the legal team doesn't. It looked like they may have been the one that dropped the ball on this one. But I was like, no. Let me watch the whole thing. Let me see what actually developed, because I still think the evidence for Zachariah is strong, but how they are delivering it, like the arguments, etc. I was like, maybe that's where it lies. But then again, I don't have the full picture, so I can't say the legal team. But gut feeling is it would be them, because I was like, if they had a different representation, might be different story. Because every single time she just seemed like really, I don't know how to describe it. She just seemed like she was just not feeling it every single day. Let me put it like that. Yeah. Without because I don't know even, but she doesn't look up to the. She doesn't look like she's looking forward to defending this guy every single day that I've seen so far. It's the best I can say.
No, I got you. No, I got you. No, I understand what you're saying. It's a confidence thing as well, and it's
right.
No, we're just saying that she's very, in the Zachariah case, she's very inexperienced. So, you know. But anyway, we spoke about Zachariah's case for ages and stuff as well. So,
okay.
My whole point was when we say we're dominating an attorney that like Diane, she's very, very vocal. She can really say stuff, and I think that plays up to any kind of judge as well. I think that's her experience. And not a lot of people get away with that. This judge, I think, was like
I can't remember any time she objected and it wasn't agreed with the judge. And I don't think she.
You know, he might have.
I don't think
she might object
to make objections. She actually had concerns. He just said that there's nothing else holding up that court except that, and Diane obviously had a problem with that. So
yeah, right, here we go. Sorry, I just want to stop you for that second, but yeah, this thing's
still. I got a question real quick. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
So this is more for later, but that cord is not the same cord that they pull out later. Do you know anything? Like, did you notice that, or
what do you mean?
This one's like 12 feet long and
it's
cut
20.
and bunt. Okay, and then
20-foot
cord. The one the next witness brings up, it's like 6 inches long, and they're trying to. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. But
interesting. Do you think it's a demonstrative?
The prosecutors tell you that it's not the actual cord. It's a representation of the cord. So he didn't have to
Gotcha.
go up there and hold that whole thing. He just bought the
Okay.
same type of cord and then used it as a demonstration in his final argument. I do know what you're talking about.
Gotcha.
But he
Okay. I
tells
missed
you
that.
that this isn't the cord. This is just a representation of the same type of cord. You just missed it.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Sure.
Our
That's
piece
why I'm
right
here,
there
bro.
in your hand, is that it?
Yes, this is it right here in my left hand.
Was there a knot fastening it in there?
No, ma'am, it was just being supported by the loop that was coming down.
And that was the only thing keeping it wrapped around the tree branch?
Objection, Your Honor. Ask the answer.
Ask your next question.
Your Honor, may I walk this past the jury?
The slow walk. Here comes the slow walk.
Or Agent Holcomb, you could do it.
Come on, you can do it. Why you throw it like a child?
Look, everybody.
I know that your mom dressed you in that tie, but
Look at this.
Very dramatic.
but the thing is, if this is not the actual cord, then it makes no difference.
No, that's the
It's
actual
just-
cord.
a murder
That's the
weapon.
actual
Oh,
cord.
that's the actual cord. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And final argument, he uses a cord that's not the same because he didn't want to
Oh, okay.
have all that around.
Right.
Scooby-Doo.
And
Scooby-Doo.
109 appears to be in the same condition as when you cut it down. We're close in time to September 16th of 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you take a photograph to document how you cut the cord and also to see if it was cut?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 110A and 110B. I've shown them to Defense Counsel. And are your initials on those?
They are.
And are those photographs that you took
Yes, ma'am.
fairly and accurately depict the cord after you cut it?
Yes, ma'am.
Placing State's Exhibit 110B on the overhead.
So that would be a photograph of the cord as it was right after I cut it down. Place some paper behind it, and then evidence placard number 1.
Did you measure the cord?
I did not.
And what, where was the top of the cord in relationship to the tree branch? What part of the cord, let me strike that. What part of the cord was touching the tree branch in this photograph?
Be the top part of the photograph right where I circled.
And then where was the little thing that was hooked into the cord, keeping it suspended?
The hard plastic would be close to my evidence placard number 1, right where I circled.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Matt, you might
And then again,
correct me if I'm wrong because I just had this thought. You see the cord. Sorry, that's the real cord. But if there was, because they're saying that you're the one that killed her, and you putting her up onto the tree, right? Like, I'm guessing she was found on the tree, right? On the tree.
Yeah, she was. The cord went around a tree down to her, and she was on her knees holding her ankles.
Right.
And
So I hope. Okay. What I'm basically saying is I don't know why I feel like they should be a lot more scratches or cuts on this cord to show at least your end of having to actually reel this cord up to actually put a, or at least was there any struggle signs on her or anything like that?
No, that they said because she'd been out there for so long that all that evidence was there, it's gone. That's
That
what
doesn't
Grubbs
happen.
said. They asked him on Dateline. He said, if you had found her when immediately, would there have been evidence? He was like, yeah, there would have been bruising to her face. There would have been some sort of, there would have been all sorts of evidence.
That
Yeah.
doesn't go away though over time.
Good job, Grubbs. I mean, he's literally, or maybe there just wasn't any evidence from the beginning. You know what I mean? I mean, literally, it's stupid. They didn't even check her for sexual assault. They didn't even, I mean, she could have been assaulted, like raped, right? They didn't even attempt any of that shit. They decided I killed her. They got tunnel vision because this is what they're trained to do. And if it didn't have anything to do with me killing her, then they just said, fuck it. They didn't even bother. They tested the cord for DNA, but that could have been, I mean, it was from our house, right? So it could have been, they could explain that. That's was their excuse too, was that there was any evidence that we would have found could be explained anyway. So we did. So that's why there wasn't any. I mean, I don't even know where this guy's coming from with this. The thing about this is that they said that I dragged her in the woods. By then, in the woods would have been dark. You know what I mean? That I found a branch 65 feet into the woods, dragging her through the woods. You know what I mean? But not on a trail. I mean, directly through woods to find a branch that was perfectly the height that it was, that I could do this thing to make it like it was. What are the odds of that? I would say that's you'd have to be a pretty clever guy, and to go through all that and have no evidence of anything on me, any burrs, any sticks, you go through the woods like that, you're gonna have leaves or something on your clothing. You know what I mean? And when I would go home from something like that, there's gonna be evidence on my clothes, right? Somewhere. Well, you laundered your fucking. There wasn't any evidence found any of that at the condo. And the condo was, you could eat off the floors there. There would be sticks. There would be a burr. There would be something, that evidence that someone had been in the woods at the condo. There wasn't.
Well, I mean, you are the master criminal, so you probably went there naked, and you didn't track all this thing.
And if you know me, anybody that knows me, I'm a fucking slob. I'm a bachelor. I don't know how to clean. I don't know how the fuck are you gonna. They didn't even test my clothing that I was wearing the night that I was fucking that night. That it was unlaundered in the fucking hamper.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that.
I mean, nothing. They probably did check. They just didn't find anything, so they didn't mention it.
Right.
That's tunnel vision.
Sorry about that, guys. I just had to.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's what you get for asking me a fucking question.
Could have been corrupt.
We go on for a couple more minutes then, and we'll call it a day.
The three ends that you cut.
As you can see at the very bottom, there are 3 ends, 2 right there, and then another to the right of it.
I'm sorry. Can you please do that again? I hit clear too fast.
So there's 2 cut ends in the left circle, and then 1 cut end in the right circle.
And states exhibit 110A.
And then as you saw when I walked around, those are the tape with the ends that I cut with my initial, badge number, and the date as well.
They didn't take any video. They should have videotaped them taking her down.
Yeah, absolutely. They should have.
That's actually irresponsible. Yes, good point.
There was
very,
trauma
very
to Emily's eye socket. There was trauma all over Emily's body because she had such brittle bones. So there was this anti-mortem trauma. Old. There was that they didn't even mention. There was perimortem trauma to her eye socket. They didn't even mention it. Perimortems at the time or around the time of death. Perimortem trauma, tell me if I'm wrong, Mighty Meat, can happen up to a year after death. And you can still say, hey, these injuries happened around the time of death. That's how ambiguous those injuries are.
Yeah,
they didn't even mention
heal.
the eye socket injuries. Those injuries happened after death because they were considered post-mortem trauma. That's what
Yeah, they
postmortem
really
trauma. Bones have dried. It didn't happen around death. It definitely happened. This trauma happened sometime after death. There was postmortem trauma to her eye socket that didn't even get mentioned in the Agnew report. Hello, the way these buffoons took her down, she was 19 pounds of brittle bones. You don't know what. It's not like it's pristine, perfect. It's not. Things are going to happen when you move bones around. There's going to be trauma.
Yeah.
They fucked this thing up. They fucked it completely up. And they tried to save face. But the postmortem trauma to her eye socket was a big deal because they didn't even fucking say anything about it in the Agnew report. You're given bones to do an analysis about any kind of bone trauma, and there's bone trauma that happened after death to her eye socket, and you don't even fucking mention it in your report. I don't know how much more evidence you need that these people don't know what they're fucking doing.
I didn't think it was that incompetent, like in the sense that they didn't even record. Like, you need proof of that. Like,
and it's not just Westerville. All law enforcement, all of them, the feds. No offense, Mighty Meat, but
fucking Mighty Meat, fucking prick.
Former.
No offense, bro.
Former. Don't put it out there.
They're all. I'm sure Mighty Meat was like, I'm surrounded by incompetence at times. I'm sure it was.
Oh, some of them were just the worst. Just
listen to him.
Right. I think it's a good preach. Everyone says preach, Matt. I think it's a good time to end it for the night because we're trying to keep it within the 2 hours.
Bros. Guys,
2 hours 15. Yeah,
I appreciate it, Mighty Meat and Mr. Hines, Dr. Hines. Next week, guys. All right.
Yeah,
next week, Matt.
Dylan, I love you.
As always, buddy.
You, thanks for everything, man. Appreciate it. Peace.
Love you too, Matt. Peace out, mate. See you later.
Comment on these, man. I'm so
no,
sorry.
No, it's not your fault at all. It's what do you call it? We're trying to get we're trying to keep it within the 2 hour realm now. Because Matt watches these back, and we get some feedback and stuff like that. And it's just unfortunate. Like, it's unfortunate timing. You got stuff on yourself as well, but it's still good for you just to pop in for half an hour at the end, just because it just ask some questions and stuff like that. So I appreciate coming in and stuff like that. It's just trying to condense it a little bit. Today was more about Matt ranting, which is that's fine. He can do whatever he wants on the stream. We watched probably about 4 minutes of video today, so we didn't miss anything testimony wise. So we missed nothing. So it's fine. The Ducarino, good point. For one person to get her into that position, you would likely winch up. You were the one that I believe. The Ducarino. I asked you a question earlier on as well, Ducarino. I hope you saw that. Thanks for leaving your questions. I don't respond to you on YouTube because I want to ask you a question here with Matt. So I hope you caught that. So yeah, and SEN, thank you for being here. Keep safe yourself as well. Thank you everybody in chat today. Sorry, what do you guys want to? I mean, as I say, we're trying to keep it short as usual. But if you both got anything that you want about this or about anything else you want to give a shout out to or anything like that?
Mighty Meat, you go first.
No, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me as always, and yeah.
I see you all the time anyway, Mighty Meat, so don't fuck you. Actually, who cares about Mighty Meat? But what times have you got? I'm joking, by the way. Mighty Meat's got a stream tonight about his birthday stream tonight as well. Me and Mighty Meat are going to be doing a stream on Monday about NFL stuff. So yeah, we're sorted. What about you, Heinzie?
Oh, I'm just releasing more and more of the interviews. I have got a lot planned to release for March in regards to memberships and putting out bonus content for memberships. So that's pretty much what I'm getting up to. A lot of my content is coming out in March, and now that I'm done with the Depth V Heard saga, which I'm so happy to finally put behind me because goodness gracious, it's taken over my life for so long. But so I'm putting out the last part of it. The final installment is going into domestic violence with men and why and empirical studies to show why the perception of men is the way it is. I interviewed researchers that were, that done studies themselves that I reference as well in the doc. So it's really, I'm really proud of it, put it that way, because I really went to, I never thought I would do that, but, speaking to people that actually wrote these books and, wrote this this academic book. Sorry, I don't know the technical term, but just putting it out and like, yeah. So I can't wait to put it out. So it's gonna be out next week, but don't hold me to it. You know me. Don't hold me to it. But next week definitely is because March is just around the corner. So yeah. But anyway, it's done. I'm so happy with that. Yeah. So everything's coming out next week. Oh, what does that relate to ketchup? What does the ketchup man relate to? Well, Saint Advocate. Ketchup man is actually it's like an alter ego of my alter ego that was a complete accident. And someone said to me, "Oh, shut up, Ketchup man," and I should take offense because they were telling me to shut up when I didn't deserve it. I should take offense, but I just ended up laughing the whole night. And then I saw so many people left, right, center commenting and putting me as like a superhero, and I was like, actually, run with this. So that was just literally what but yeah,
that's fine. Just to quickly answer Nuni's question, me and my team are doing an NFL one, so don't worry about that one. We're doing an NFL one at 10 o'clock Eastern. Then I'll be doing our one, Nunia, the Kariga one as usual. But if it's on, I'll also be doing the Cara Reid hearing as well at, I believe, 2 o'clock Eastern, if that is on or not. We don't know if it's on or not yet. So if it is on, we'll be covering it with Sean from the Gulf. But if not, it'll just be Kariga. So nothing that should affect you, Nunia. So it'll be all good as usual. So with that, everybody, yeah, if it's on, we don't know if it's going to be on or not yet, Erin. So, well, there'll be something on, but not what we thought to be up there. We'll see. Right, with that, let's end it because I do have to go. So, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you all. I'm going to put the outro on, and yeah, catch you all next week. Take care. Ta-ra.
All right.
Bye.